Hi, this is Megan Jacks, Creative Memories Independent Advisor, and this video is all about sketch number 5 from the December 2020 Creative Memories Virtual Crop. So if you want to get a copy of this sketch, you can head on over to the Creative Memories blog, go to December 2020, and you'll look for sketch number 5. One of the details in this particular sketch is these angled ribbon border type pieces. So I am going to show you a quick and easy way to make these angled cuts so that they're even. And so additional details you'll see is we've got the stacked photos. So it's got the 3 stacked on each other and then 2 strips of that. So I stayed pretty true to these. I think I measured them out and they're 3 by 3 squares. The overall size here is about 1/8 of an inch all the way around and with 1/8 of an inch spacing. I did vary that a little bit and I'll explain to you why I did that. I am going to be using one of the Border Maker cartridges as one of my border strips on the side here. So you can have lots of fun playing with different ways to do that. You can see here the details, the strips vary in width a little bit, how they overlap and tuck and all that kind of fun stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The photos I'm working with, I've got 3 square photos of my son playing at the park. The one thing that was nice about these photos was they weren't the best quality. This was from a different phone that I had before I had my most recent one, and they're ever so slightly blurry. But the fact that I printed them as 3 by 3s made it so you really can't tell. So this is one of those cases where not printing them as 4 by 6s, I was able to come in, just do the 3 by 3 squares, and it really just kind of hides the fact that they're just a little less than perfect for the pictures. I decided to go with the Picture This collection, and I chose kind of this greenish color background. I thought it went nice with the photos. It does allow them to pop off the page a little bit. They don't blend in too much. And what I decided to use was the white patterned, the black and white patterned paper for the behind the photos. The challenge I ran into here, because I mentioned that there's only about 1/8 of an inch all the way around for the mats behind the photos. I ran into a little bit of a spacing problem with this particular pattern paper. If I came in with the inch or the 1/8 of an inch all the way around, I was really starting to get kind of a weird pattern on one side versus the other. So I played around with it a little bit and kind of figured out that I actually had to go clear out to almost 1/4 of an inch all the way around. So I change things up because my patterned paper kind of required that I do that. So that may be something to kind of, pay attention to. It depends on how particular you wanted to get. And I was feeling kind of particular about it. So that's how that all worked out. Another detail I went in here is they show a sketch or a journal box here in the middle. It would also be a 3 by 3 journal box, the same size as your photos. However, in the Picture This embellishment collections, have this adorable little camera embellishment. So I'm going to be using that in place of the journal box. But I do have, I cut a piece of journal paper that will fit right in there. So it's going to be super cute. The other thing I want to talk briefly about is deciding what order I'm going to put my images, because this does matter. And I'm going to tell you why it matters. I have a couple of things here. One of this is my little guy is looking off to the bottom outside of the picture. I don't want to put this picture would not go here in this corner. And the reason is he's basically looking off the page. So I am going to keep this in the upper section over here, so that he's gazing down towards other pictures. That is probably the most obvious one in terms of if I have a person, when I'm doing multiple photos on a page, if I have a person who's looking specifically one direction, I want to make sure I either have another photo with somebody looking that way or they're looking into the page. I wouldn't put a picture just like here. I would not put a picture where somebody is gazing off this direction over on this side, unless I have a double page layout and I've got more page, the second page is on the other side. So I'm just going to kind of put these in place here. The one thing I am keeping in mind, I'm going to balance out this bright blue table by keeping them on opposite sides. And this here, how he's looking up, it looks so sweet with his little smile. I'll keep that on the bottom of the page. Like he's kind of gazing up into it. So overall, I like the placement here. I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and put these in place, and then I will build the borders before I actually go putting this part on the page itself. I could have trimmed just a 3x3 piece of journal paper in there, but I didn't. So I think this was the medium size or medium sized circle from the template set with the red blade. So that goes in there, and then we'll get these three over here put on. Now I was able to crop these straight to 3x3. I ended up doing this one in Photoshop. I cropped them down to 3x3 so I knew exactly where I was cropping. And then I printed them on a 4x6 and cut apart. So you could print them as 4x4s and cut apart. I am not sure. You also actually, the suggestion I would do is try to print them as 3x4s. And then you can cut off that section to make them 3x3s. So you would actually print these as two 3x4s on one 4x6, and then trim them down from a 3x4 into a 3x3 square. That would be my recommendation for how to print these little ones. And the Project Life app would let you do that. So there, we've got the overall photos going here. Now, one of the details I want to show you real quick before I launch into these borders, I mentioned it before, was these angled cuts. So I'm going to show you a really quick and easy way to be able to make the angled cuts. I am guesstimating that those are roughly would be like a 60-degree angle. So a quick and easy way to do a 60-degree angle is whatever your width of the paper. So this is a 1-inch strip of paper, 1 inch wide. You come down here to your trimmer. I'm going to line up my corner on my cutting line where my cutting groove is, and then you angle it over to half the width. So I have a 1-inch width paper here. I'm going to angle it over to the 1/2 inch mark here. So I've got a point here at the cutting line, and I've got the other corner here at 1/2 inch, because that's half the width of my paper. And I'll close my trimmer and cut. I now have approximately, this should be, have cut a 60-degree angle. This works great if you want to be able to make some of those 6-sided snowflakes. You could just keep moving on and cut your slices here. You could also make a template guide, and I'll show that later at some point, how to make that 60-degree template guide that would allow you to do this even quicker. But if you're just needing to make these quick ends, that's the easiest way to do it. So what you want to do again is, I have a 1-inch strip of paper. I am going to cut it. I'm going to line up my corner here, and I'm going to rotate it to half the width. So once again, I'm at a 1-inch paper, so I will go ahead and rotate it over here to 1/2 inch and make my cut. So now I have two lovely cuts here that are about that 60-degree angle that I want. So if you had used a 1.5 inch wide paper, you would turn that angle all the way to 3/4 inch. So this is really easy to do as long as you've made that initial cut to a width that you can easily divide in half. So I would not suggest doing it for something like 3/4 inch, because it's hard to find basically you got to find the 3/8 of an inch line. And that is a challenge to find on the trimmer, especially down in here. So if you half the width, so you cut a 1-inch strip, turn to the corner, rotate it into 1/2 an inch, and make your cut. And that will give you that 60-degree angle. So one of the things I decided to do too was I did use a border maker cartridge. And since I'm using the Picture This collection, I went ahead and used the camera chain border maker cartridge that came out a few years ago. So I've grabbed a couple of pieces of strips of paper, and these are all cut anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch. I think this black one is 3/4 of an inch. I did a couple of ribbon end details. It is about 11.5 inches, and then I did my ribbon cut. This was a 1-inch strip that I think I cut down to just under 11 inches, and then made my angle cuts just the same way I told you. So once again, it was a 1-inch strip. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of tack these into place. This paper is fantastic. The background paper is, because it's got these vertical lines to make it super easy for me to line things up. I do know for my spacing before that I want to come in about to just past that second stitching line. And then we'll go ahead and put the polka dot, the aqua polka dot in place. It tucks under ever so slightly. Making sure that I get it as even as possible down the line. And then I have the border strip from the camera chain. I went ahead and cut off the stars so that I have a to the first full camera at each end. And I just thought that was a good place to cut. I knew I didn't want it to be a full length, and I thought it would just be better if I cut it. Here I am lining it up so that my circle that represents the lens is fully on the lighter color, because I want it to stand out. I want to make sure if too much of it went over into the polka dots, it just kind of got hard to see. And then we'll go to the other side. So the other side, I changed things up a little bit. I'm still using all the same colors, all the same papers, but I am changing it up a little bit so that it's the polka dot color. The aqua polka dot has the ribbon ends. I have the angled ends on this black, and I've got a little bit longer piece of the border. You can see that's how it's going to go together there. So I'm going to put the angled piece on first. Once again, I am coming in, center it vertically on the page, and I'm coming over to this second stitching line. And then I'm going to go ahead and put on the aqua ribbon cut strip. And then we'll put on the border, or the cameras. Just overlapping a little bit here to get the top, keeping that lens back on the So there's the borders put on. They're fairly uniform. I could have gone a little bit more eclectic and really very mixed it up, but I decided to keep them a little low key. They won't be quite as eye-catching. They won't, distract you to go over to look at that, as when, I kind of want to keep you focused on the photos. Now that I have those in place, I can put my photo strips in place, because I know how to keep them nice and centered between the two border strips. So that looks pretty good there. I'm going to go ahead and put some adhesive on the back. I am not pushing down right now. Just getting that adhesive on. I'll push it firmly into place once I confirm that I like how things look. And they don't have theirs angled very much in the sketch, but I do like the angled look for these. So I'm going to go ahead and angle them. And I think that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and give it that firm press. Now, so I've got my title here, or my journal box. I found a cute little sticker in the sticker pack for a picture of this. And it just says the best camera is the one you have with you, which is kind of funny because it was just my simple cell phone camera and not even a great one at that. And I will put this over here. It's kind of balancing out that journal box there that's got a nice round. And then I think I'm going to go ahead, I want to add some additional round elements. I'm going to do kind of, you know, they talk about using a set of 3. I'm going to use these shutter icons, and I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just putting a foam dot on there and leaving the sticky on. And then I might sprinkle those around the page as well. Carries the circle element through. And I'm going to put this lighter one here in the corner so it stands out a little bit more. So I think I like that. I think I like those icons in place. There are a couple other little sprinkle stickers that I could put in there. I don't have a tendency to go too much with embellishments. I like to have those smiles and everything else be the embellishments on the page. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. It's a great sketch to do. Give it a try and please share if you do make the sketch. Thanks for watching and I'll see you soon.